Welcome back. Friday's global WannaCry cyber attack is impacting more than 200,000 computers. WannaCry issuing a ransom of $300, equal to 1,781 Bitcoin, according to the Department of Homeland Security's Computer Emergency Readiness Team. By tracking Bitcoin accounts, IBM Security has found companies paid a little more than $54,000 so far. The U.S. government is discouraging paying the ransom, but some companies see it as the fastest solution. So for more on how to handle the ransomware quandary, we're joined by John Carlin. He's a CNBC contributor and former Assistant Attorney General for the National Security Division, and Caleb Barlow, who's Vice President of IBM Security Threat Intelligence. All right, gentlemen, welcome to you both. John, I'll just begin with you. What is the best advice from the policy point of view here, especially with the ransom being so low? Should companies simply pay it?
Well, when it comes to this particular attack, and it's a good lesson in general, companies should not simply pay the ransom. There are important questions to ask first, such as, if I pay the ransom, will I actually get my information back? Will it be decrypted? And what we're hearing now in this current attack, this first instance of what I'll call a ransom worm, ransomware that's propagating automatically from computer to computer, is that people who pay are not getting their files decrypted. One lesson I think every business today can take from this current incident is, do you have a policy in place, a corporate policy in place that explains what the factors are, what you should do if ransomware hits tomorrow? Should you contact law enforcement? Are you going to pay automatically?
All right, so Caleb, what is your suggestion or proposal to the marketplace for when these types of attacks happen, especially if, like John said, they're not going to unlock it for you even if you pay the ransom?
Well, I think John had an excellent point, and one of the things that companies around the world are learning today is that preparation matters. So, think of a few key things. Do you have an incident response team? Are they on retainer? Do you know your local law enforcement contacts? Do you have a plan and a team in place that can help you respond? Many companies, as this was hitting over the weekend, realized that they didn't even have contact information for their IT teams as they were headed out over the long weekend.
So, Caleb, by the way, do you guys have an updated sense of how much this has pulled in? It was $54,000 or so as of this morning.
Yeah, at the current time, those numbers do appear to be accurate. And honestly, this is one of the head scratchers of several in this particular attack. That's not a whole lot of money as ransomware goes. I mean, we've seen some cases where a single payment for ransomware may amount to money in a similar domain. So, this is a little bit of an oddity in terms of what we're dealing with.
And Caleb, one more question, and I agree. I mean, the worrisome thing is that the next group of hackers realize they can demand a lot more. A lot of these cybersecurity stocks are rallying today, but, is cybersecurity effective if companies are still this vulnerable? In other words, is there a way to tell that, everybody who would have had some kind of contract with a security provider would have definitely avoided being vulnerable to this attack?
Well, I think we have to keep in mind that this particular attack was grounded in a Microsoft Windows vulnerability. And those companies that use technologies to keep themselves patched and had multiple layers in an immune system of security wrapping around them, if you will, were well protected. In the case of our clients, we had very few instances where people had a problem. And that's just a testament to the fact that they had thought through their preparation, their planning, and in many cases had actually rehearsed it. One of the things we do at IBM Security is we actually have a live cyber range where people can come and actually practice responding to breaches and incidents like this.
Sounds like a shooting range, for cyber, basically. John,
there's no bullets or guns involved.
Yes, but some weapons of different sorts. John, one of the issues that has come up in all of this, especially as Microsoft was indicating, was maybe it's dangerous for the government to stockpile these vulnerabilities. But the whole point of them having some sort of edge in cyber intelligence is to know what these vulnerabilities are. Is it bad policy?
I got to tell you, that might be an interesting issue for a different day, but it does cause you to lose focus a little bit on what actually happened here. And just as Caleb said, what happened here was this is a known vulnerability. Microsoft issued the patch for this vulnerability in March of 2017. It was fully a month later that this group called Shadow Brokers released what they claimed was a vulnerability taken from the NSA. And the fact of the matter is what we're seeing out there these days is over 90% of the cases, according to the Department of Homeland Security, are bad guys, be they crooks, terrorists, or nation states, taking advantage of vulnerabilities that are already known. What does that mean if
Yeah.
you're a business? It means focusing on patching, focusing on things like preventing phishing.
Yeah, and not
You know,
opening
John is
those
absolutely
data
right.
attachments. We got to go. Caleb and John, thank you both for joining us. They really appreciate it. Caleb Barlow, John Carlin, as companies are trying to grapple with how vulnerable they are to the latest ransomware attack. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. They account for 10 Oscar nominations. They've made more than